you can dramatically slow one's speed of aging. I've slowed my speed of aging to 0.64. That is currently better than 100% of 50, 40, and 30-year-old males and 99% of 20-year-old males. Roughly speaking, that means for every 12 months that pass, I age 7.6. My total bone mineral density is in the top 0.02% of 30-year-olds, which is age min for the test. My inflammation markers are lower than 88% of 10-year-olds. My body fat and my body muscles in the top 99.5 percentile. I have a team of 30 medical professionals, and we scoured through all the scientific literature that's ever been done by Homo sapiens. We ranked everything according to power laws, and then we said, can we put all the science into me? And then can we make me the most measured person in history? And we did that. The evidence is pretty compelling that you can meaningfully change one's rate of aging and their health and wellness, especially when I was coming from a pretty bad spot of having participated in grind culture for quite some time and had a decade of chronic depression. So if I can do it, you can do it. It's very encouraging, I think, for all of us.
You basically set up the habit. So you go to bed at the same time every single day. Like if you want to be a pro, it's like within 5 minutes. If you want to be like intermediate, 30 minutes. And if you want to be like an entry level, it's an hour. But going to bed at the same time is really important. And then the last time of your final meal. So if your bedtime is at 10:30, you want to try to eat your last meal by 8:30 p.m. So you have 2 hours of digestion. And you can even experiment with going to 7:30 or 6:30, 5:30. Mine's all the way back at 11 a.m. This is not to say my way is the only way. It's to say that I went through a process. I experimented hundreds of times with different eating times, different foods, different circumstances, and then I watched my data evolve. And so that's why I think the 8 months of perfect sleep is just a evidence that you actually can go through a process of learning how to achieve perfect sleep and then just repeat that again and again, and anybody can do it. So
got it.
Same bedtime, eating the last meal of the day earlier in the day and lighter. So heavier foods like pastas and breads and stuff like that. Food generally just puts a big metabolic burden on the body to digest it. So you want to push it earlier so the body can like do its thing and then get back to getting your body ready for sleep. Do blackout curtains. I sleep with an 8 sleep bed. So yeah, but everyone can do it. Sleep is the #1 best performing longevity drug. And so now I celebrate a birthday every 19 months. It has systematically dropped with the things we've done. And it's such a cool concept because it makes something so tangible. Like, what is your speed of aging? Like, what's your aging clock inside? And so that's why I open source Blueprint. I just said, like, here's what I do. Here's exactly what I do. You do it too. So several people have reached out and said, I want to beat you. And I think they thought I would be competitive and be like, no, I'm going to crush you. But I was like, great, and let me help you.
Oh, nice.
Like, my disposition is really, I want people to beat me. And I want them to share what they've done. And it improves everyone's health and wellness because people don't have access to doctors like I do. And I don't want this to be some esoteric black box thing. I want everyone to have access to all the knowledge I do.
Right.
And so it's really meant to be a community endeavor that everyone benefits. There's this conception in the West that a suntan is a sign of good health. It's not. Being suntanned means your skin has been damaged. Right? The sun causes damage. Now, yes, the sun damages the skin. Like, you can't argue against that. And when you're out in the sun and you get burned, you're incurring sun damage. And you can quantify that. You can actually use multispectral imaging and look at the damage that it's caused. Also, sun is very good for you, right? There's all kinds of, it improves mood, it improves vitamin D, like all kinds of positive things. And so my argument is not no sun. My argument is get sun exposure at the time that doesn't cause damage. So between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. before the UV index is 4 or above, I can do sun exposure. Or when 6 p.m. To 7, 8 p.m. sunset, I also get a sun exposure. But in the times where the UV index is 4 or above, I avoid direct exposure to sunlight.
Got it.
So, but my objective again is don't die. My objective is not have tan skin, and people confuse like what my objectives are. I'm trying to literally be like the most don't die person in history. And so they conflate their ideas of reality with my ideas of reality. But I'm trying to say you can measure the process at which the body dies with the sun exposure. And so if I wasn't getting enough sun exposure and there was some kind of deficiency in my mood or my biochemical processes, we'd fix it. If you look at the rankings, LA's on like lower side in the U.S.
Really?
So air quality in my house is pristine. It's perfect. But outside, it's so I'm mindful of air quality, especially in LA because it's dirty here. Definitely, if you look at the air quality, you can go to iqair.com and see stations that report air quality all around, like in every city, all around the world, actually. Like if you say how dirty or clean is the food supply, how dirty or clean is the air quality, how dirty or clean, like, so it makes sense why health is in a challenging state for most people. We're surrounded by contamination everywhere. And so we still do these things like the 4th of July, we get together and we blow these things up in the air. Like it's so terrible for our bodies, but we do it.
Yeah.
And so when I do these things, I'm trying to challenge the cultural norms where we just do these things on autopilot, but they're actually really bad for us.
Yeah. Even the water we drink.
We tested for over 300 contaminants.
Okay. Is it reverse osmosis?
It is.
Got it. Yeah, there's a whole debate on like spring water versus osmosis, but that one seems to be the best one, I'd say.
Yeah. And like in these debates, measure it.
Right.
Like quantify, give me numbers. Like let's not fight each other over storytelling. Like give me numbers. The reason I do a lot of posture is I found that, so you have 2 pipes on the side of your neck that allow blood flow in and out of the brain. And so the pipes that allow my blood flow out of the brain are genetically narrow. And so when I'm in a slouch position like this, it kinks those pipes and it stops blood flow from my brain to my body. And so we found that on imaging. And then we found like there's not good ways to actually fix the problem. Like you can't do surgery, and surgery is very dangerous on the neck. And so posture is one of the best ways to do it. And so yeah, posture is like a staple of my existence. So like I'll give you a few tips.
Yeah.
So imagine you've got a string that's just pulling up on top of your head. You want to be roughly straight because our default is kind of like this.
Yeah.
Because we're doing the keyboard and we're on our phones, and so we're just slouching. So being up roughly like this. And so we did this and we measured the flow rates of my blood with ultrasound in different postural positions.
Wow.
And then you also want to build up muscles around your neck. So I do several exercises. I have a video on this. You want to strengthen the muscles around your posture because if you try to maintain proper posture, you're going to be like for an entire day, you're going to be so sore. You can barely, like you don't realize how many muscles are required to maintain proper posture. So I had to work at it and remind myself like 100 times a day for like 6 months.
2,000 calories a day?
Yeah, 2,250.
That's pretty low, right?
Yeah, it's 250 below RDA, and plus I exercise for an hour a day.
Wow. So are you burning more than you're eating then?
Yeah, this is like a common misconception. So I do a few things that break norms. So I do caloric restriction, plus I'm vegan, minus collagen peptides. And then I exercise quite a bit. And yeah, so like when you say those things, people would assume I'm weak and frail, but the data is the opposite. So my muscle mass is in the top 1 percentile. Same with my body fat. Same with my cardiovascular capacity. Same with my total bone mineral density. So all the markers that you care about that demonstrate strength and like body fitness, I'm in the top 1%.
Wow.
And so in that, so again, it goes back to this idea that when you hear something in the world of health and wellness as a rule of thumb, it's best not to believe it. You really need to see data.
Yeah.
And then the best is to see it in your own biomarkers.